Well, look at that. Blue Texas skies, gray clouds, and pine trees. That's East Texas. I guess September. Kind of glad that old high pressure dome that sat over us in August and part of July finally broke loose. And now we're back to the old humid days and random thunderstorms along the way. I was looking at the morning, my morning farm report that I subscribe to, and we're only, I think, 2.5, 3 inches behind for the year now. So had a little catching up to do. And by the looks of these passing showers every day for the next week, I think we've got at least 30% chance of rain every day. That's the weather pattern that I remember. So the that garden really appreciated it. Everything's coming on good. So doing a little piddling around the place today. If you're from the country or been around anybody that is country, maybe you have to be a little older. I don't know. Y'all know what the term piddling means? It means just doing a lot of stuff that probably is important for a daily routine, but you really can't show much for it. Just piddling, just getting stuff done. So not making big impacts, but just piddling. That's what I've been doing. So you got to do a little piddling around a place like this every day, or things will pile up, and then it just turns into that 4-letter word work, I guess. Hey, I thought I'd hey, hush chickens. I'm gonna show them one of these. I've been trying to get these babies a little bit more acclimated to things. They're this is the first group of them. They're 4 weeks old. Look at that, a little Rhode Island red right there. How about that? He don't know what to think about it. He hadn't had any freedom yet, but we're about to fix him up a little run for him and his buddies to spend a little time pecking at bugs like they'll do for the rest of their life. But we got them split up, and they're mighty comfortable in their little high rise. But yeah, all of them are doing well. You know, you have to keep them at a certain temperature, and I've got heat lamps on the babies, but where I've got them at in this old Texas sun, heat lamps are not needed, at least during the daytime. But I've been seeing an old gray cat prowling around. Oh, I guess it's feral. He stays out of the way, hadn't bothered the chickens. Kind of thankful for him. I'm sure he's fending off some of these old snakes that are around here. So I don't know if I need to feed him or not. I don't want to feed him too much, because then he won't be eating the mice and all that business, will he? But, well, we had somebody ask, I think yesterday, about the egg count. I didn't really want to talk about it yesterday. I was kind of disappointed. Of course, these broilers aren't the best layers, and my good layers are too young yet, but they're laying a little bit along. But I usually get at least 1 or 2 eggs a day, some better than others, but yesterday I didn't get one. And so I was kind of suspect about a varmint or a snake or something, but there wasn't any sign. And then this morning, of course, they're just now learning to lay. It's in their nature, but I was feeding them this morning, and I think one didn't realize it was laying an egg. It laid it right out in the middle of where I was feeding them at, and then stepped on it, cracked it. So that was one for the day. But I was going to show you kind of what I was piddling with today. I'm kind of proud of some of this. Let me see. We'll do an egg count. How's that? So I just got back from gathering them. We'll count. So there's 1. It's a good day, by the way. 2, 3. I feel like I'm on Sesame Street. Remember that counting? What was it? Count Dracula. 4. 5. Now I'm tickled about it. 6. Got 7 today. How about that? So they're getting after a few of them are pullet eggs, so that means it's some new layers coming on. What I was really proud about on my piddling was I picked some peas, like I said I was going to do. And man, I'll tell you, these are the first 2 or 3 bushes that I planted early. I mean, they are some long pods and just full. Got purple hulls and cream crowders. So that'll make a good little mess for me, and Jordan will go in there and shell them up here in a minute and get them ready. As it turns into straight up fall here in Texas, or fastly approaching, I was thinking about childhood and growing up in Huntsville and kind of a suburban area. And I don't know if y'all have ever done it. If you're from Texas, I don't know if it's, I guess it would be all across the South, anywhere there's pine trees. But you know those little bats that live in the pine trees? I remember as kids, about this time of day, maybe another 20 minutes when that sun sets, we'd get out there in the road amongst them pine trees and throw pine cones up in the air and watch those bats dive for them. You ever do that? That was some good fun until one of them bats followed that pine cone a little bit too close to the ground and you thought he was coming after you. I didn't see many bats, especially looks like there'd be some here in these piney woods, but I guess we got to say the fire ants got them. That's what Texans and Southerners say about everything that goes missing. Fire ants got it. No, I'm sure they're still there, but we grow old and lose our sense of wonder and imagination and ignore all the cool things that are around us. Speaking of bats and throwing them up in the air and getting dark, another memory, and I know most of y'all that grew up anywhere close to a metro area or city, little suburb, remembers, see, it was mid-80s when I was that age, or a little younger. But them street lights come on, it was time to take that Huffy and get to the house, because it's time to eat and start settling down for the evening. Street lights were the code. It's a shame I don't think kids get to do that much anymore with the state of the world. Just get to ride all over the neighborhood and not have to worry about getting abducted or in trouble. And pray we got a lot of little people these days instead of kids. With all the stuff they're inundated with, the innocence is gone pretty quickly, and that's a bad thing. I think a kid needs to grow up not necessarily sheltered, but in a sense of wonderment, and doesn't need to know it all at that age, especially all the vulgarity and the madness that we see all over. I think they need to be protected to that a little bit, but just my thinking. Anyway, all right, let me see who all's on here this evening, and we'll call it a night. Let me start at the top here. My buddy out in California is watching. Mike, how are you, bud? There's Margaret, my sister Kim, Roxanne, Jeannie's on. There's Donna Wills. Where's that wild man comment? I know it's coming. My Aunt Bonnie's watching. Y'all say hello to Aunt Bonnie. You can type it. I think I've got her understanding that when I wave that I'm talking to her, she can't really hear, but she'll watch the YouTube here in a minute. So hello, Aunt Bonnie. Love you. And let's see. We got Luke. Hey, what's going on, Luke? If I remember right, you're over in Australia, sir. So I guess it's early morning over there. So good morning to you in Australia. There's a wild man comment. Joyce Pounds is watching. Their daughter Megan has really went through some health issues over time with the heart transplant, and I think we finally got a good heart and a good take, and better health days coming. So steady praying for y'all, Joyce, you and Dewey. There's my buddy from church, Terry Burris. How are you, ma'am? And Pamela. Hey, Mike Howington's watching. Now that's a good thing. Up in Jersey, I guess. Good buddy of mine. Barbara, how are you? My buddy Jimmy down in Conroe. Yes, Barbara, fresh peas are yummy. Hey, Susan, how are you? And Judy from Walhalla, South Carolina. Good to have you along, Judy. Appreciate you tuning in. There's Carolyn. How are you, ma'am? My buddy Glenn down in Dayton, Texas. We're going to have to plan a trip to see each other soon, brother. It's been way too long. Hope you're doing well. Try to keep up with you on Facebook. Looking good. There's Michelle from Graham, Texas. And Connie, let's see. Yeah, Connie's saying good evening. How are you? Thank you, Susan, for that. And there's my sweetheart, Tanaya. Hey, sweetheart. I'll be talking with her in just a few minutes after I do my video thing. Well, y'all have a good evening, and let's try to experience the wonder every day and celebrate it. It passes too quickly. Today's moments will be tomorrow's memories, so some of them will just be every old day moments, but it doesn't hurt to try to make a good memory along the way. And then this year, old Facebook will tell you on this day what we do without Facebook. A lot, probably. We'd get a lot done without Facebook. Anyway, I'm rambling. Y'all have a good evening. Be the light. Make a difference where you're at. And we will talk with you tomorrow. All right. Good night.